Hello YouTube, this will be my very first ever YouTube video. I just wanted to show the results of my Becker BK-2 mods. I got this when I traded a Schrade Extreme Survival, I think it's a SCHF 9 for this Becker BK-2. A buddy of mine had it. He had gotten it brand new from as a gift at a police trade show or some kind of deal. I don't know what it was. But he had gotten it as a gift, and he had put it on a cloth wheel and pretty much rounded that tip of that Becker off. I mean, to where it wasn't even sharp. It was just a round point on it, on a cloth wheel, trying to put an edge on it. He actually did a really good job on the edge, but like I said, he ruined that tip. So I had to put it on a couple different stones and just kind of work that tip back up there where it's sharp again. He had the custom scales for it. He didn't have the custom scales on it, but he had bought them separate. Never put them on there. So when I got it, I stripped it. I did a patina on it. Hope y'all can see that. I actually did it several different times with different patterns, experimenting, using ground mustard, yellow mustard, and what's the red sauce? The Chinese red sauce. I forget what it's called, but it's the hot red sauce. Chili sauce. A couple different times using each one separately, and then I kind of put them all together, and I finally, after several different coats, did that. Come up with this patina pattern. I hope everybody can see that. I thought it was pretty neat. I put some jimping, if you want to call it, in the top. I didn't want to do the regular jimping that like comes from the factory on them, or that people do. So I put more of the custom, I just call it old-timey, what you used to see on old knives, and kind of some of the custom handled knives using a Dremel tool. It actually works really well. It doesn't hurt your fingers after a while like the normal jimping does, serrated jimping. It has a really good feel to it. It still catches your finger. It allows you to chalk up on the knife, but it's comfortable, and I think it actually looks a lot better. There's a profile of it. But I think it turned out pretty good. Put some little grooves in the handle. I also customized the sheath. You know, the back of the BK-2 sheaths are kind of flimsy when they come from the factory. I like the sheath. It does dull the knife after a while, like everybody says, but if you're careful with it, I don't think it's a problem that can't be overcome. But I took the back off, and using an old war belt, which I had seen somebody else do, I drilled it and attached it the same way the other sheaths attached, and put some heavy-duty zip ties on there. I don't think I ever have a problem with that coming apart or failing. It's pretty heavy-duty. I don't think I could have bought one or had one made that's more heavy-duty than this, doing it myself. I'm really happy with it. The little pouch is a little pouch from China. It's actually meant for cell phones, but it works just as well. I've got a blast match in there, fire starter, some other fire-making materials, a sharpener, pretty much anything you want to put in it. It's quite a large case. If you can see that, it takes up the entire width of the sheath. But you can get them from China for a couple dollars, and they're actually pretty well made, pretty heavy-duty canvas, and they're flexible and lined on the inside. So if you want to put something in there, it's not going to tear it up. Pretty nice sheath. The other things I have are my SE6, which I did the same thing with a war belt. Didn't want to have to buy the sheath backing separately. I had the other half of the war belt, so I figured, what the hell, I'll put it on the back of my SE6, try the same thing, and it works like a charm. I actually got a tab from, I think it's knifekits.com, where I get most of my supplies. The rubber, they're actually inside the waistband loops. I found that they work awesome for snaps. A lot of knives, when you pull them out of the sheath, they'll hit your nylon snap or your canvas snap, and they end up cutting it after a time. I can use this XC6, pull it out of the sheath, and even if it nicks it along the way, it doesn't cut. These are pretty heavy duty. I don't think they'll dry rot. I think it'll last a long time. I use those on most of my knives. This is the last one I had. I would have put one on the Becker, but I didn't have any more. But I like using them for that. This is my SE. Pretty happy with the SEs. I like the lifetime guarantee. I've had expensive knives, I've had cheap knives. I think it really just depends on the model and the maker as to, what really quality of a knife they are. I've had some M-Tech knives that were some of the sharpest and best knives I've ever owned. I've had some expensive knives that once they went dull, I couldn't get sharp again. Like I said, I just kind of think it depends on preference and what kind of knife you get or what brand or model. I think they vary a lot in between. This is the new Elite Tactical, USMC Elite Tactical. I think it's the either the Poseidon or Neptune model. It's the large fixed blade. It's the exact copy of the SE6. And I took the finish off of this one and put more of a flat grind on the back. It comes with a bevel on it, a pretty steep bevel actually. There was razor sharp, but the bevel was steep. And you could just see from the steepness that once it got dull, you would have a hell of a time sharpening it again. So I put it on a stone, some sandpaper, put more of a flat grind edge on there. It has still kind of a bevel, a Scandi grind maybe. I guess that's what they call it. But it's pretty sharp. The custom sheath I made, Kydex, same thing, phone case I use as a pouch. That one's not full. I've actually got room in that one. But I made this sheath for my SE6 when I got in, put a tech lock on it to wear in the small of my back. This knife actually fits the sheath that I made for the SE6 better than the SE6 does. That's not by any means saying anything about the SE6. It's just the blade on this knife is a little bit thicker. I mean, just a tiny bit thicker, and I'll show you all that in a minute. But it's actually tighter in this sheath than the SE6. It may be because of the way I made it. Let me pull this SE6 out here real quick. Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand, so bear with me. This is the SE6 and the USMC Tactical, Elite Tactical. They are pretty much identical in dimensions. I mean, almost exactly. The grind's a little bit different up here in the choil. This grind kind of goes into a slant. The SE's straight up and down. But as far as size, they are almost exactly to the millimeter. The same size, same shape. Like I said, the only real difference I could see is, I don't know if y'all can see that or not, blade thickness. This one, the USMC Elite Tactical on my right, is actually a little bit thicker than the SE. The stock is thicker. Of course, I think on their website, the USMC Elite Tactical says it's 440 stainless. It is stainless because I tried to put a patina on this one. About 4 or 5 different coats. Putting it on there, letting it stay overnight, taking it off, it didn't do anything. It would not take. So this is stainless steel. They say it's 440, I believe. But it is stainless. I left the SE the way it is. I like the coat on the SEs. I didn't want to, strip it and put a patina on it because I just like their coat. I like seeing the SE on there, and I didn't really want to mess this one up. I paid a lot of money for it. I think they're worth every penny. But I didn't want to experiment with that one. So I chose to experiment with this one. But like I said, it's stainless, so I tried to do a patina. Thought maybe it might take anyway, but it didn't. So it is actually stainless steel. Seems to be a very good quality knife for the money. I think I paid around $30 for this one. Right at $30, 31 bucks, I think. And seems to be a really nice knife. The couple other things I have, a couple more custom sheaths I've made. Ooh, watch out. Like I said, I'm doing this one-handed. I made this sheath a while back for my buck strider from China. The buck strider from China actually came in the buck box with the buck markings, the buck instructions, everything. It's the buck strider, I forget which model, but anyway.